Hi, friends. Happy Friday. It's a beautiful spring day, and it rained lots last night and yesterday, so I know all the spring bulbs and seeds that I planted last fall have been quenched. So I worried about them this spring because it's been very dry, but hopefully it's going to be a little bit wetter this month, this coming month, and we can get some. We were supposed to have a lot more April showers, but hopefully we get enough that everything grows like it's supposed to. I know that some of my bulbs ended up dying because they got frozen, just not enough protection, but I'm learning lessons as I get planting. Okay, so on to scrapbooking. So this morning, a scripture that I've already used in the past, but I'm using it again because last night at my our grief share group, Ellen and I have been helping to facilitate and lead out on this grief share, and we're going to again do another one in the fall in Bloomington at the new campus of our church at Substance. Is Jeremiah 29:11. We brought it up last night, and I gave them some of the stories that gave me courage when things were tough. My husband and I had lost everything in the downturn, and we were newly married. We didn't have any retirement left, and so starting over at almost 50 was really hard. And obviously we have a lot of work that we've done in the last 13 years or 12 years, but we've got more to do. Neither here there. The Lord has been so faithful, and I loved telling the story last night, and I noticed people were writing down the scripture because it gave me so much courage. And it was a bracelet that a friend gave me, dear friend in California, and she gave me a bracelet with this verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you, excuse me, hope and a future. Sorry. This was, at first I didn't know, I don't think I ever really remember much about this verse other than, people mentioning, oh, there's a verse up there that God doesn't intend to harm you, but I really embraced this promise and just prayed over it and prayed over it. And it changed my husband's and my circumstances, even though we were new to tithing, new to being married. I tithed before, but this was for a couple. It's sometimes hard. And new to saving, trying to save up for another house because I had lost my house previously. It was amazing to watch Christ come through for us, or God come through for us. And I just continued to lean in on that promise that he wasn't out to harm me. And I felt like I was living in abundance, and it just continues. It has continued over these 12 years that almost 12 years that my husband and I have been married. And it's just amazing what he's done in our life by us just continuing to seek him first. And so just want to encourage you, if you're having a rough time, just claim the promise that Christ says here, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Not everything has been perfect, obviously, in the last 12 years. And as you know, after losing his daughter last year, that was hard, but good comes out of it. We've gotten closer. We're giving back with the grief share. So it continues to, and my husband also feels like he needs to, rather than have his daughter be his legacy, he's going to be her legacy. And we're going to be here to remind the kids of what a wonderful person she was. So anyway, okay, scrapbooking, memory lane. So I have been really, really busy this week. Work has been off the charts, and we've been getting the house ready for guests. I had our Connect group on Wednesday night, and then we had our grief share last night. So just not having enough time to really get in and give you a great scrapbooking idea. So instead, and something I've been meaning to do, is to show you some scrapbooking that I did over 20 years ago. Some of it's a little more recent, but these are mostly, and it's, I want to say 90% of what I'm going to be showing you is what I did using Stampin' Up scrapbooking kits, and also their product, their stamp sets, and inks and cardstock. So this was actually one of their scrapbooking binders that they were selling at the time. And I know my camera is in my face, but you're not here to see my face. You're here to see my scrap. But they sold this, and I don't remember how many years ago. I've got Kitty crunches, nibbling on the corners. But they sold scrapbook binders and protectors at back in the day. So this was, now I think the words that I got from here, I don't know how I did it because I don't remember having any dies back then. But I remember grommets were a big thing, and Stampin' Up sold coordinating grommets that went along with their cardstock. So this was their blue at the time. I don't remember what it was called. And this is some vellum that they sold that was in their soft subtle collection. And so this was my little guy. He was very, very early. And so he was only 24 weeks gestation. So you can see you just looked like a little bird, really. So I named this Early Bird. And so these pictures are from him being 4 days old. So he was 1 pound, 7.5 ounces. His little head was smaller than a baseball. So you can see that it was quite some time ago and scary times, and I don't remember where I got, but I must have had a punch or something that gave me all these little booties because I was able to get these out of Stampin' Up's cardstock. So these are just some, and this is another one with vellum and grommets, and I used a little peekaboo to show him. This is when he was further along, and the only time I was allowed to touch him was when somebody, or when he needed his diaper changed, his temperature taken, that sort of thing. So I peek at the baby blues. This is, the nurses pried his eyes open. I know they loved him, but they probably shouldn't have. And then one of them stitched his name on his little beanie cap. So it was just, and I need to go back and journal these. I haven't. And this is one of my first times holding him. So it took him about 3 weeks to be able to be held, but this is more of that vellum. So you can see the vellum, it's all the same vellum pack. And so Stampin' Up's been doing this for a long time. I love this. Such a cutie. He had very fat cheeks because they were giving him steroids to help with his lungs so he could breathe on his own. Took him a long time. So he was about 7 weeks along when they finally took him off the oscillator, and they just gave him a cannula. No, this was actually, he didn't even have a cannula. This was a feeding tube, so to make sure he had enough. Though they did have a cannula for him a little bit earlier. And so just we took as many pictures as we could in the hospital. I'd come in and they had shaved a spot for him, but this was a cute little stamp set that I just fussy cut. All the little, the cute, April 1st, 1998. Can you believe it? And then this was Peter Rabbit. So this was not Stampin' Up. But this was a really beautiful stamp set that I just loved. And I just kind of had these really precious images. And then this is how we got most of our script or our titles. We'd use a stamp and put it on a circle, but this was part of a kit. I can see that it has little punch marks, and then I must have used a punch for the bigger one. But this was Easter back in 1998, and they had this really pretty it was some sort of like a like a, I don't remember what it was called, but mullen paper, I think. And they had it coordinating with the colors, which was great. This was more of the Peter Rabbit. And this, I think I printed using my printer at the time, more Peter Rabbit. But this, all this cardstock and ribbon was Stampin' Up. And this is a little needle and thread. How funny. Okay. And here's another one that's part of a kit. Little dragonfly. Not sure if you can see it or not. And this was another one of their kits. So it was so warm, we didn't have air conditioning. So he was 7 months old, July, just a month after he went home, cooling off. And then I remember these, Stampin' Up sold these, and this is one of their fall stamp sets. So I did my own background paper, and then I loved the torn look. You can see the tearing and then the grommets, just some elements. Fun pictures. And then this was Christmas, his first Christmas. I need to go back and journal. I feel really bad that I haven't done that. I've just noticed. And then, you know, again, making my own background paper. Using 8.5 by 11 and then cutting out a piece of it just to kind of give it a focus. Nathaniel's first birthday. And then this was a cute one. This was another dragonfly set. This little guy, he didn't want to touch the grass. It was so funny. And back then, well, you know, you're not really able to create or do anything with your photos other than cut them down to what size you want. So this is another one where they're doing the grommets, the little tags that came out of one of their kits. They're really pretty vellum. I love that. So I scrapped this in 2022, but it was in 1999. He was born in 98. Still, that's like 22 years ago. Can you believe, or 23 years ago? That's amazing. So another one that I just created my own background paper. I really loved the vines and the grapes, just using some alternate colors. More of that mullen paper that was coordinating. And this is just poor quality photo, but you just don't want to pass up on sweet photos, even if they're really small. I wish I had the negatives. This one was, you remember when, I don't know if you remember, but Stampin' Up had rollers and you could get a pattern out of their rollers, and I loved it. So this was with white ink on navy blue, their Night of Navy, and this is the Night of Navy ink on the white cardstock. So I think it was their, it's their basic white now, but it was their, anyway, I don't even remember. So just some fun, you know, fun ways to do some titles. Here's another one with little dragonflies and his second birthday. This is some school memories, preschool memories. So his preschool days was fall of 2000 to spring of 2002. So he did a couple years of developmental preschool. And these are more stamps from Stampin' Up and using their white craft ink. So it was really fun. It had a little girl, little boy, the grass, trees, clouds. It's really fun. Kind of looks like a chalkboard. And then obviously I've got some more stuff to... This is another one of their scrapbooking kits. It had some cute little things. and some of their cardstock that went with it. And I want to say these were some of their scissors that they had where you could get a different pattern of with your layers. Just some fun memories. And then this was another one of their kits. So it went along with that stamp set that had the kids. So I need to finish one of these days. This is real red, so it's still the same color that they always used. So, and then this, another one, you know, had some, I think this is from Lovely as a Tree, and I just continued to stamp that same tree and stamped off. And this was the, yeah, this was Lovely as a Tree. I remember that. So that's it for that one. And then, so you can see it's been a long time that I've been scrapbooking, but I have this huge gap of time that I hadn't done anything. So this is him and his cousin, and this is all Stampin' Up scrapbooking. One of their stamps. And then, of course, me printing in on cardstock. They were such good friends, him and his little cousin. And then this is another stamp set from Stampin' Up back in the day. This is when he got to go fishing for the first time back in 2002. And then making some new friends. And this is all some of their, no, some of this is not Stampin' Up, but this vellum is Stampin' Up. I recognize that. And their little grommets. Very fun. And this was a fun scrapbook page I did that made it look like a rainbow. And I used the scissors that had the curved edge. And then I just put them all together and creating this rainbow in the background, and then put vellum over the top of it to kind of mute it a little bit. And then this was, they had like a way to make big circles, and this is more of that mullen paper. So lots of bright colors to match the fair. This was his first carnival. And then I was helping somebody do some, we walked in the Labor Day parade helping with someone trying to get in for a position at the place where I worked. So, and I don't think that these were Stampin' Up stamps, but definitely they're cardstock. They're real red and they're blue at the time, which I don't remember the name of it. And then this is another one. So this one, this is actually a copy of a scrapbook page that I made. I gave the original to someone else, but these are from Stampin' Up, and you just, some of their string and ribbon and just kind of twined in between. So this was using a kit that they provided. And then this is another one with their really pretty vellum. So I love the bubbles, and I just kind of cut out some of the bubbles and then put pictures behind it and in front of it. Just kind of cut a piece of it and tuck the picture in there. I was quite creative at the time. I need to go back and look at some of these things. And then this was another Stampin' Up stamp set, and I used bleach to get the little footprints to show up. And I used clear embossing powder to make the little sandal footprints and the little waves. So just by using a little bit of bleach with a Q-tip. And then I kind of did a little bit of bleach on each one of them. There was crabs and seashells and balls, and a little lighthouse, little umbrella and chair. How fun. So this was a trip to California in 2003. And then Catching Waves, more Stampin' Up stuff. Just the same stamp set, but using a different layout. This is really fun. And then these, I think, were more scissors, kind of giving that deckled look. And I just, and then this was white. I stamped man, I did a lot of work. So I stamped in white ink on the cardstock just to kind of get a subtle pattern of all these little seashells and pebbles and stuff. Or maybe it was a roller. I think it might have been a roller. I was going to say, man, that's a lot of work. So I think those rollers were really fun. And then the little waves. Some fun pictures. And then this was another one of their stamp sets. I loved it. It was really fun, little fall leaves. And I think this was that roller thing again. So this is their roller pattern. And then the rest of it is stamped. So I must have given the original to his dad, because this is just a copy of what I did. And another one. This was some of Stampin' Up stuff. I'm not sure that this was, but maybe it was. I don't remember. More of that mullen paper and distressing the edges. So I think this is some old jewelry of my grandmother's and buttons. So some fun memories. All right, well, hopefully this inspires you and to give some things a try. And appreciate you being patient with me. I wasn't ready for showing you a scrapbook page layout, but it was fun to go through some memories with you. And so give scrapbooking a try. It's very rewarding. My son and I like to go through them and take a look at them and talk about them. Someday they'll be his. I'm also making scrapbooks for my grandchildren that I'll give to them when they're older, and they'll appreciate them, something they can chuckle over with their partner. And so I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that you're encouraged. If you ever need prayer, just send me a message, either my YouTube video or on my Facebook page or even on my blog. I just really love that I'm adding my spiritual walk in this effort, because I feel like I'm a bit of a recluse. Maybe not recluse, that's not the right term, but I am definitely not outgoing. So more of a stand back in the corner kind of person. But this is a way for me to reach out to people. And I never know who's listening and who's paying attention and who's not. So God bless you this week, and hope you have a great weekend.